21. Ugliest black actors who were made beautiful. One of them owed the IRS nearly $3 million before he turned 22. One worked the night shift at a car factory, then crossed an ocean with almost nothing. One spent 14 hours a day effectively blind, just to disappear into a role, and won an Oscar for it. One was told he might never walk or speak again, and came back to a standing ovation. These 21 black actors weren't handed greatness. They were doubted, overlooked, and nearly broken first. What they did next changed Hollywood forever. Stay to the very end, because the final story will stay with you long after this video ends. And subscribe to Secret Celebrity Stories, where hard-won legacies are never forgotten. Denzel Washington. Before he became one of the most revered actors alive, Denzel Washington was a journalism student at Fordham University who stumbled into theater almost by accident, and it changed the course of American cinema. After earning his MFA from the American Conservatory Theater, he broke through as Dr. Philip Chandler on NBC's St. Elsewhere from 1982 to 1988, insisting on a character who refused every stereotype. His film career then exploded with glory in 1989, winning him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor as a defiant, escaped slave-turned-soldier. For Spike Lee's Malcolm X in 1992, he learned Arabic, made the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca, and embodied the activist so completely that audiences felt they were watching Malcolm reborn. In 2002, he won Best Actor for his terrifying turn as corrupt detective Alonzo Harris in Training Day, becoming only the second black man to win that category, after Sidney Poitier. Across the decades, he delivered masterclass after masterclass: The Hurricane, American Gangster, Flight, and Fences, which he also directed, before stunning audiences again as the cunning Macrinus in Gladiator II in 2024. With 9 acting Oscar nominations to his name, more than any other black performer in history, Washington stands among cinema's true immortals. Yet his greatness was never handed to him. It was built through relentless discipline, an actor who treated every role as sacred and never once coasted on charisma alone. His commanding presence and profound emotional control turned him into the standard by which serious dramatic acting is measured. From a young man who wasn't even sure acting was his path, Denzel became the definition of gravitas, proof that mastery is a choice renewed every single day, on every single set. Will Smith. Long before the world called him a global superstar, Willard Carroll Smith Jr. was a Philadelphia rapper drowning in debt. As half of DJ Jazzy Jeff in The Fresh Prince, he won the very first Grammy ever awarded for Best Rap Performance in 1989, and then watched it nearly all disappear, reportedly owing the IRS around $2.8 million by age 21. That freefall could have ended him. Instead, NBC handed him a sitcom that rewrote his life, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which ran from 1990 to 1996 and turned his charisma into a cultural touchstone. But Smith wanted more than television. Bad Boys in 1995 proved he could anchor an action film. Independence Day in 1996 made him a box office force. Men in Black in 1997 crowned him the king of summer cinema. By the late 1990s, no actor was more bankable. Still, he craved respect as much as records. And in 2001, he transformed himself entirely for Ali, packing on 35 pounds of muscle and learning to box like Muhammad Ali, earning his first Oscar nomination. The Pursuit of Happiness in 2006, acting opposite his own son Jaden, brought another. He finally won Best Actor in 2022 for King Richard, portraying the father of Venus and Serena Williams, though that night was overshadowed by his onstage altercation with Chris Rock, after which he issued public apologies and accepted a 10-year ban from the Academy. Even then, he kept working, returning in Bad Boys Ride or Die in 2024. Will Smith's arc is a lesson in reinvention and consequence alike, proof that a career can rise from debt to the top of the world, stumble hard, and still find its way toward a comeback. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy became a global superstar before he even turned 25, a velocity of fame that few entertainers in history have ever matched. He joined Saturday Night Live in 1980 at just 19, and almost single-handedly rescued the show during one of its darkest creative stretches, birthing instant staples like Mr. Robinson, Buckwheat, and Gumby. By 1982, he was headlining films. 48 Horrors made him an overnight draw, and his stand-up specials Delirious and Raw became legendary, with Raw still the highest-grossing stand-up concert film ever made. Then came Beverly Hills Cop in 1984, whose fast-talking Axel Foley grossed over $300 million and launched a franchise, cementing Murphy as the most bankable star of the entire 1980s, alongside Coming to America and Harlem Nights. But his genius was reinvention. In the late 1990s, he became a beloved family entertainer, playing 7 roles in The Nutty Professor, voicing Mushu in Mulan, and then voicing Donkey in Shrek, a character so iconic it helped the franchise gross over $3.5 billion worldwide. He earned an Academy Award nomination for Dreamgirls in 2006, and after a quieter stretch, he returned triumphantly in 2019 with Dolomite Is My Name to some of the best reviews of his career. What sets Murphy apart isn't just longevity, it's how thoroughly he reshaped American comedy across 4 decades, while remaining genuinely beloved through every one of them. From a teenager cracking jokes in New York clubs to a multi-generational icon, he proved that true comedic greatness isn't a single moment. It's the rare ability to keep making entirely new audiences fall in love, era after era, without ever losing the spark that started it all. Michael B. Jordan. In 2002, a skinny 15-year-old from Newark walked onto the set of HBO's The Wire and quietly broke a generation's heart. As Wallace, a soft-hearted teenage boy trapped in Baltimore's drug trade, his tearful final scene became one of television's most devastating moments and announced a generational talent. But almost everyone underestimated that kid. After years on All My Children, where he won 3 Knock-Up Image Awards, and steady work on Friday Night Lights, Jordan delivered a shattering portrayal of Oscar Grant III in 2013's Fruitvale Station, and critics declared a star was born. He reunited with Ryan Coogler for Creed in 2015, adding 20 pounds of muscle through a punishing year of boxing, then made history in 2018 as Eric Killmonger in Black Panther, one of Marvel's most complex villains, in a film that grossed roughly $1.3 billion worldwide. He carried the Creed franchise as both star and director. And then, on March 15, 2026, Michael B. Jordan reached the mountaintop. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his dual role as twin brothers Smoke and Stack in Coogler's genre-defying horror epic Sinners, a film that earned a record 16 Oscar nominations and became a box office juggernaut. It was his very first nomination, and it made him only the 6th black man ever to win the lead actor category. In his speech, he named the giants who came before him. From the boy who played Wallace to the man holding that statue, Jordan's transformation is more than physical or financial. It's the blueprint for what black excellence in Hollywood can become when raw talent is finally given the room, the trust, and the time to fully breathe. Jamie Foxx. Born Eric Marlon Bishop in Terrell, Texas, Jamie Foxx began as a stand-up comedian who chose his stage name strategically, having noticed that women's names got called up first at open mic nights. On In Living Color from 1991 to 1994, his elastic characters and razor-sharp impressions made him a household name, and to most viewers, he was simply a goofy comic in dresses. But behind that persona was a classically trained pianist with serious dramatic ambitions almost no one saw coming. His first major dramatic test arrived in Oliver Stone's Any Given Sunday in 1999, holding the screen opposite Al Pacino. Then, in 2004, the impossible happened. As Ray Charles in the biopic Ray, Foxx didn't impersonate the legend. He became him, wearing prosthetic eyelid covers that left him effectively blind for 14 hours a day on set, playing piano live in nearly every scene. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor, and that same year earned a second nomination for Best Supporting Actor in Collateral, making him only the 10th performer in history nominated twice in a single year. He never stopped reinventing himself, playing the title role in Django Unchained and voicing Joe Gardner in Pixar's Soul. Then, in April 2023, he suffered a sudden and serious medical emergency, later revealed to involve a stroke, spending weeks in the hospital and rehabilitation before returning to acting in 2024's Back in Action. His perseverance through that health crisis, layered atop decades of multidisciplinary mastery, makes Fox one of the most quietly versatile entertainers of his generation. A man who refused every single box Hollywood ever tried to put him in, and who came back from the edge of tragedy with his gifts fully intact. Idris Elba. Idris Elba was working night shifts at a Ford assembly plant in Dagenham and DJing in clubs just to make rent, when he decided the United Kingdom's casting directors were never going to look his way. So in 1998, he made a bold gamble. He relocated to New York, slept on friends' floors, and spun records under the name Big Dries to keep food on the table. Then, in 2002, HBO cast him as Russell Stringer Bell in The Wire, and as the cold, calculating Baltimore kingpin trying to legitimize his empire. Elba was so commanding that American audiences had no idea he was actually British, his accent fooling even seasoned critics. The role transformed him from struggling unknown into one of television's most magnetic forces, and the climb never stopped. In 2010, he launched the BBC psychological crime drama Luther, playing the haunted detective across 5 seasons and a 2023 Netflix film, winning a Golden Globe in 2012. He brought genuine gravity to the Marvel Universe as Heimdall in the Thor films, and anchored dramas and thrillers alike. In 2018, People magazine named him the sexiest man alive, and he has been part of serious James Bond conversations for over a decade. Beyond acting, he has expanded into music, fashion, and producing through his company Green Door Pictures. From an assembly line to global superstardom, Elba's journey proves a simple, stubborn truth. Talent eventually outlasts every door slammed in your face. He didn't wait for permission, or for the industry to catch up. He crossed an ocean and rebuilt his life from nothing. And in doing so, he became living proof that persistence, paired with real ability, can rewrite even the most unpromising beginning. Mahershala Ali. For nearly 15 years, Mahershala Ali was the consummate working actor, reliable, respected, and almost entirely overlooked by the spotlight. Born in Oakland, and once a college basketball player on scholarship, he pivoted to acting, earned his MFA from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, and converted to Islam in 2000. He spent those years grinding through procedurals and gaining attention as the scheming lobbyist Remy Danton on Netflix's House of Cards. But true stardom eluded him until 2016, when Barry Jenkins's Moonlight changed everything. As Juan, a Miami drug dealer who becomes an unexpected father figure to a struggling young boy, Ali delivered a performance of such tenderness that, despite appearing in only the first third of the film, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, becoming the first Muslim actor ever to win an acting Oscar. Just 2 years later, in 2019, he won a second Best Supporting Actor Oscar for Green Book, portraying the brilliant pianist Don Shirley on a 1962 tour through the segregated South. With that win, he became only the second black actor ever to claim 2 Oscars. He went on to lead the 3rd season of HBO's True Detective and is set to headline Marvel's Blade reboot. Ali's career is a masterclass in patience. He never chased fame, never forced a moment, and never wasted one when it finally came. His signature is a kind of extraordinary stillness, the sense of a man who spent his whole life preparing quietly in the wings, so that when the great roles finally arrived, he was ready to meet each one with total, unhurried command. 15 years of near anonymity became the foundation for one of the most respected careers in modern film. Forest Whitaker. Forest Whitaker arrived at the University of Southern California to study opera, until a back injury quietly redirected him toward acting, and his singular intensity immediately set him apart. After his film debut in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, he memorably played jazz genius Charlie Parker in Clint Eastwood's Bird in 1988, winning Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival. For decades, he was Hollywood's most reliable supporting craftsman, appearing in Good Morning Vietnam, Platoon, and The Crying Game. His gentle demeanor and the distinctive droop of one eyelid, a feature he has always embraced as his own, making him unforgettable in any frame. Then 2006 changed everything. In The Last King of Scotland, Whittaker portrayed Ugandan dictator Idi Amin with such terrifying charisma that he swept the entire awards season, gaining weight and perfecting the accent through months of dialect coaching, and shifting seamlessly between warmth and cold-blooded menace. He won the Academy Award for Best Actor, along with the Golden Globe and the BAFTA, becoming only the fourth black actor in history to win that category. He continued delivering excellence in The Butler, as Zuri in Black Panther, and as Saw Gerrera in Rogue One. Beyond the screen, he became a committed humanitarian, founding the Whittaker Peace and Development Initiative and serving as a UNESCO Special Envoy for Peace. From a quiet supporting player who waited decades for his defining lead, to an Oscar winner, to a global peacemaker, Whittaker's transformation reflects the power of patience and purpose in equal measure. His story is a reminder that some artists bloom slowly and deliberately, and that the depth built over years of steady, unshowy work can, in a single role, finally command the whole world's attention. Donald Glover. Donald Glover may be the closest thing modern entertainment has to a genuine Renaissance artist, a creator who refused to be confined to any single lane. After studying dramatic writing at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, he landed a writer's room job on Tina Fey's 30 Rock in 2006, at just 23, earning a Writers Guild Award nomination before most people knew his name. He gained mainstream love playing the lovable Troy Barnes on the cult NBC comedy Community from 2009 to 2014, but a sitcom was never going to contain him. He simultaneously built a music career as Childish Gambino, and then, in 2018, detonated a cultural earthquake. This Is America dropped without warning, its provocative video confronting gun violence and systemic racism, and it won 4 Grammy Awards, including Record and Song of the Year, the first hip-hop song ever to claim those categories. Meanwhile, he created, wrote, directed, and starred in Atlanta on FX, a surreal, intimate exploration of the city's hip-hop scene that won him 2 Emmys in 2017, including the first-ever directing win for a black director in the comedy category. He played a young Lando Calrissian in Solo, a Star Wars story, and voiced Simba in Disney's live-action The Lion King, then co-created and starred in Amazon's Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 2024. Glover redefined what a modern black creative could actually control: writing, music, acting, directing, and producing, all at once, and all with surgical precision. His genius was never accepting the limits others placed on him. He simply built his own lanes and mastered every one, proving that the most radical thing an artist can do is refuse, completely, to choose just a single dream. Wesley Snipes. Trained at New York's famed High School of Performing Arts, Wesley Snipes launched a career that swung wildly and fearlessly between comedy and menace. He charmed audiences as the fast-talking Willie Mays Hayes in the 1989 baseball comedy Major League, then turned utterly chilling in 1991 as drug lord Nino Brown in New Jack City, a performance so ruthless it announced him as a major dramatic force overnight. That same year, he took on Spike Lee's Jungle Fever, and by the mid-1990s, he had reinvented himself yet again as a serious action star, mastering martial arts from capoeira to hapkido. Then came 1998 and Blade. As the half-vampire vampire hunter, Snipes essentially launched the modern superhero era, arriving 2 years before X-Men and a full decade before Iron Man, and the trilogy earned over $400 million worldwide, turning his leather-clad daywalker into one of the coolest heroes ever put on screen. His career then hit a serious obstacle. He served 3 years in federal prison from 2010 to 2013 on tax-related convictions, a chapter he has openly discussed and reflected on since. But rather than let it define him, Snipes returned with renewed energy, joining The Expendables 3 and starring in Dolomite Is My Name and the 2021 Coming to America. At 63, he is still taking on new projects and still moving with the coiled precision that made him a star. Snipes' arc is one of range, reinvention, and genuine resilience. An actor who could terrify you in one film and make you laugh in the next, who weathered a very public fall, and who kept returning to the screen with the same conviction that carried him there in the first place. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle grew up in Washington, D.C., surrounded by intellectual giants, a professor father and a minister academic mother, and moved to New York at 18 to chase stand-up, performing in Manhattan clubs while still a teenager. After small film roles in Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and the cult favorite Half-Baked, which he co-wrote, everything changed in 2003, when Comedy Central launched Chappelle's show. Across just 2 seasons, he created some of the most influential sketch comedy in American television history. The Racial Draft, his uncanny Rick James and Prince impressions, and Clayton Bigsby, the blind black-white supremacist, sketches that didn't merely make people laugh, but genuinely reshaped national conversations about race, identity, and power. Then, in 2005, at the absolute height of his fame, Chappelle stunned the world by walking away from a reported $50 million deal. He flew to South Africa, later telling Oprah that the show had begun to feel spiritually unbearable, and that he worried it was reinforcing the very stereotypes he meant to skewer. For nearly a decade, he stayed largely out of view, performing sporadic club sets, before returning triumphantly in 2017 with a run of Netflix specials that won him 3 consecutive Grammys for Best Comedy Album, and, in 2019, the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Though his recent work has sparked intense debate, his cultural influence remains undeniable. Chappelle's story is that of a comedic philosopher who valued his own conscience over a fortune, a man willing to disappear entirely rather than betray his sense of himself, and who returned on his own terms, proving that walking away from millions can sometimes be the most powerful career move of all. Anthony Mackie. A Juilliard-trained actor from New Orleans, Anthony Mackie spent the early years of his career quietly stealing scenes in respected dramas, holding his own opposite Eminem in 8 Mile, delivering a powerful turn beside Ryan Gosling in Half Nelson, and earning real industry attention as Sergeant Sanborn in Kathryn Bigelow's Best Picture winner, The Hurt Locker. And yet, despite steady acclaim, he remained underrated for years, a working actor stuck just below A-list visibility. That changed in 2014, when Marvel cast him as Sam Wilson, the Falcon, in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. With his easy charm and sharp comedic timing, Mackie made the character instantly endearing, building an iconic on-screen friendship with Chris Evans's Steve Rogers across multiple films. His true ascension came in 2021 with Disney Douaniers, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which wrestled seriously with what it means for a black man to carry Captain America's shield in a country that had so often failed its black soldiers. By the finale, Mackie officially became the new Captain America, the first black actor to hold the title in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In 2025, he led Captain America, Brave New World as the franchise's official star, opening to over $300 million worldwide. Beyond Marvel, he has shown real range in films like Detroit and earned Tony-nominated acclaim on Broadway. From an under-noticed supporting player to a global superhero icon, Mackie's journey rewrote what black leadership in blockbuster cinema could look like. His rise wasn't sudden luck. It was a decade of proving himself in serious rooms until the biggest stage in the world finally had no choice but to hand him the shield and the spotlight. Sterling K. Brown. Sterling K. Brown lost his father to a sudden heart attack when he was just 10 years old, a loss that shaped both his emotional depth and a fierce, almost relentless work ethic. After graduating from Stanford and earning his MFA from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, he spent more than a decade grinding through guest spots on procedurals like Supernatural, Person of Interest, and Castle. He was always the talented, that guy critics nodded at, never the leading man. Then came 2016, and his role as prosecutor, Christopher Darden, in FX's The People v. O.J. Simpson, which finally won him the Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor. That same year, NBC launched This Is Us, and as Randall Pearson, a black man adopted into a white family, searching for his biological roots, Brown delivered some of the most emotionally honest television of the decade. In 2017, he won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama, becoming the first African American to take that category in nearly 2 decades. And his gracious, viral acceptance speeches only deepened the public's love for him. He won a Golden Globe the following year, again as a historic first, and in 2024 earned an Academy Award nomination for his supporting work in American fiction. Beyond television, he has appeared in Black Panther, Waves, and as a voice in Frozen 2. Brown represents that rare Hollywood figure whose talent, integrity, and emotional intelligence all align, a leading man whose moment was quite literally decades in the making. His story is a tribute to persistence over hype, the actor who kept showing up, kept sharpening his craft in the background, and was ready to carry entire shows the instant the door finally opened. John Boyega. John Boyega, the son of Nigerian immigrants raised in South London, made his first major mark in Joe Cornish's 2011 cult hit Attack the Block, playing a teenage gang leader fighting off alien invaders on a council estate. His performance caught Hollywood's eye, and then, in 2015, Disney and Lucasfilm cast him as Finn, a former stormtrooper turned resistance fighter in Star Wars, The Force Awakens. At just 23, he was suddenly carrying the most beloved franchise in film history, in a movie that grossed over $2 billion worldwide, his earnest charm winning over fans everywhere. But the role also exposed him to something ugly. A vocal minority of toxic fans launched racist attacks from the moment his casting was announced. Rather than stay silent, Boyega spoke out fearlessly. In June 2020, at a Black Lives Matter protest in London's Hyde Park, he delivered an emotional, viral speech, a moment some feared might end his career. Instead, the industry rallied around him. He delivered a stunning performance in Steve McQueen's Red, White, and Blue, part of the Small Axe anthology, winning a Golden Globe, then led The Woman King alongside Viola Davis, and starred in Netflix's They Cloned Tyrone. Through every chapter, blockbuster star, outspoken activist, serious dramatic actor, Boyega has held on to an authenticity that made him a hero both on screen and off. His journey is about courage as much as talent. A young man who was handed a galaxy, faced racist abuse for daring to occupy it, and refused to shrink or apologize. He chose to speak his conscience, even when it seemed to risk everything, and in doing so, proved that integrity and stardom don't have to be in conflict. Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield's path to stardom was anything but conventional. He moved to Los Angeles at 19 and slept in his car at times while waiting for a break. That break came in 2013 with Short Term 12, an indie drama in which his haunting performance, including a raw freestyle rap about his mother, earned him an Independent Spirit Award nomination and marked him as a singular new talent. He portrayed Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton in 2015, capturing the rapper's voice and laid-back charisma, and then delivered an unforgettable, electrifying Get Out in Jordan Peele's genre-defining 2017 horror film. He starred in Boots Riley's surreal Sorry to Bother You, before landing the role of Darius, the philosophical, weed-loving best friend on FX's Atlanta, whose strange wisdom became a cultural touchstone. His most acclaimed performance came in 2021's Judas and the Black Messiah, playing FBI informant William O'Neill opposite Daniel Kaluuya's Fred Hampton, a role that earned him an Academy Award nomination and made the pair the first all-black male nominees in the supporting actor category. He continued as a romantic lead in The Photograph and in the stylized Western The Harder They Fall. Beyond acting, Stanfield has emerged as a fearless fashion icon, turning red carpets into avant-garde art shows with daring looks that blur traditional lines. His commitment to authentic, fearless self-expression in his roles and his style alike makes him one of the most uniquely magnetic performers of his generation. From Sleeping in His Car to an Oscar nomination, his story is a testament to originality, an artist who never once tried to fit the mold, and who built a singular career precisely by refusing to be anything but himself. Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan grew up in extreme poverty in the Bronx, surrounded by addiction, violence, and loss. His father died of AIDS-related complications when Tracy was just 19. Comedy became his lifeline. He worked New York's gritty club circuit until he landed Saturday Night Live in 1996, staying 7 seasons and creating wild, unforgettable characters like Brian Fellow and Astronaut Jones. After SNL, Tina Fey created the role of Tracy Jordan on 30 Rock specifically for him, a chaotic, exaggerated version of his own persona. And the show, which ran from 2006 to 2013, earned him an Emmy nomination and a devoted following. Then, on June 7, 2014, everything stopped. A truck driver who reportedly hadn't slept in over 24 hours slammed into Morgan's limousine on the New Jersey Turnpike, killing his close friend, comedian James McNair, and leaving Morgan in a coma for 2 weeks, with a traumatic brain injury and severe internal damage. Doctors weren't sure he would ever walk, talk, or perform again. But Tracy did the impossible. After more than a year of grueling rehabilitation, relearning to speak and walk, he returned to host Saturday Night Live in October 2015, and the standing ovation before his monologue brought the country to tears. He went on to star in The Last OG and continues touring stand-up. His comeback wasn't merely a personal triumph, it became a public masterclass in resilience, faith, and the redemptive power of laughter against unthinkable trauma. Morgan's story is one of the most moving in modern comedy. A man who clawed his way out of poverty, then clawed his way back from the edge of death itself, and chose, against every odd, to make the world laugh again. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard's path to stardom was anything but linear. The grandson of stage and film actress Minnie Gentry, he moved between New York and Cleveland during a turbulent childhood, and even studied chemical engineering before committing fully to acting. His early career was built on smaller supporting roles in films like Mr. Holland's Opus and Big Mama's House, where his soulful eyes and distinctive raspy voice always made him memorable. Everything changed in 2005 with Hustle and Flow. Playing DJ, a Memphis hustler dreaming of becoming a rapper, Howard delivered a performance so raw and human that it earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. And the film's original song won the Oscar for Best Original Song that night, one of the most surreal moments in Academy history. That same year he appeared in the Best Picture winner Crash, cementing his place as a serious dramatic force. He played Jim Rhodes in the original Iron Man and appeared in Lee Daniels' The Butler. But his most defining role came in 2015, when Fox launched Empire and cast him as ruthless music mogul Lucius Lyon, a magnetic blend of menace, vulnerability, and bravado that drew over 17 million viewers at its peak and ran for 6 seasons. Howard has since stepped back from acting, announcing his retirement in 2023 to pursue his own theories in physics and mathematics, interests that have drawn both fascination and real controversy. Whatever direction his future takes, his contributions to Black storytelling on screen remain undeniable, especially in roles demanding an emotional courage few actors could summon. His arc is a study in unpredictability, a genuinely gifted performer who reached the heights of his craft, then walked his own singular, unconventional path. Taye Diggs. Taye Diggs discovered theater as a kid in Rochester, New York, earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Musical Theater from Syracuse, and went straight to Broadway, joining the original cast of the revolutionary musical Rent in 1996. His breakthrough film moment came in 1998 with How Stella Got Her Groove Back, where at 27 he played the much younger love interest who sweeps Angela Bassett's character off her feet, and audiences couldn't stop talking about the dazzling smile, the smooth accent, and the effortless charm of the unknown actor stealing scenes from a Hollywood legend. Taye Diggs had officially arrived. He followed it with The Best Man in 1999 as Harper Stewart, leading an ensemble that became a black cinema classic, and reprising the role in The Best Man Holiday and The Best Man, The Final Chapters. Brown Sugar showcased his romantic chemistry, while Chicago, in which he sang and danced, and which won the Academy Award for Best Picture, proved his versatility. Television then became his domain. He starred as Dr. Sam Bennett on Private Practice, and led the CW's All-American as Coach Billy Baker for over 100 episodes, mentoring young athletes through intense personal storylines. As Diggs entered his 50s, he embraced his salt and pepper look with real confidence, becoming a silver fox icon to fans who loved him in his 20s, and to a whole new generation discovering him fresh. His charisma has proven genuinely timeless. From a Broadway newcomer to a romantic lead fixture to a beloved television veteran, Diggs built a career on warmth and staying power. An actor who never needed a single explosive moment because he simply kept showing up, charming, and evolving decade after decade. Omar Epps. Omar Epps grew up in a tough Brooklyn neighborhood where creative outlets were lifelines, and he found his at the prestigious LaGuardia High School of Music and Art and Performing Arts, the same school that produced Wesley Snipes and Adrian Brody. At just 19, he made his feature debut in Ernest Dickerson's intense urban drama Juice in 1992, playing the moral conscience of a group of Harlem teenagers spiraling into violence, opposite Tupac Shakur. The film became a cultural landmark, and Epps's grounded, soulful performance announced him as a serious dramatic talent. He followed it with John Singleton's Higher Learning, then Love and Basketball in 2000, a beloved romance opposite Sanaa Lathan that became a defining black love story for an entire generation. He showed comedic warmth in The Wood and proved he could thrive in horror with Scream 2. His television breakthrough came on NBC's ER, but his most iconic role arrived in 2004 when Fox launched House. As Dr. Eric Foreman, the brilliant but conflicted neurologist, Epps anchored the medical drama for all 8 seasons, becoming a household name to tens of millions of weekly viewers worldwide at the show's global peak. After House, he starred in Resurrection and in Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and in 2018, he published a memoir, From Fatherless to Fatherhood, opening up about losing his own father at 23. From a street-smart teenager in a landmark film to a polished medical drama lead, Epps built a career defined by consistency, intelligence, and quiet authority. An actor who never chased flash, but whose steady, grounded presence made him one of the most dependable and enduring talents of his generation. His longevity is its own kind of triumph. Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut has been disarming audiences with his smile for more than 3 decades, and somehow he keeps getting better with age. His first major role came at just 22 in John Singleton's groundbreaking 1991 film Boys and the Hood, where he played Ricky Baker, a high school football star with NFL dreams. Anyone who has seen the film knows how gut-wrenchingly Ricky's story ends, in one of the most iconic scenes of 1990s cinema. After such a heartbreaking debut, many young black actors of that era were typecast into endless gritty urban dramas. Chestnut refused that path. He carefully selected projects that highlighted his romantic charm and dramatic versatility, and his breakthrough into mainstream stardom came with The Best Man in 1999 as Lance Sullivan, a film that became a cultural phenomenon. Its 2013 sequel, The Best Man Holiday, earning over $70 million on a $17 million budget. Throughout the 2000s and 2010s, he became Hollywood's most reliable leading man for grown-up romantic dramas, with hits like Two Can Play That Game and the Think Like a Man films keeping him at the forefront of date-night cinema. He moved into procedural television with Rosewood, and in 2024 took the lead as Dr. John Watson in CBS's Watson, a Sherlock-inspired medical mystery that became one of the network's biggest new launches. At 56, Chestnut commands more presence than performers half his age. His story is proof that discipline and respect for the craft can create a magnetism that never fades. An actor who turned a devastating early role into a launchpad, sidestepped every typecasting trap, and built one of the steadiest careers in Black Hollywood, aging not into obscurity, but into ever greater command. Larenz Tate. Larenz Tate began acting as a child alongside his older brothers, all enrolled in an inner-city cultural program, and his breakout arrived in 1993, when, at just 17, he played the unpredictable, explosive O-Dog in the Hughes Brothers' Menace II Society. His performance was so chilling and convincing that many audiences genuinely believed he had grown up on the streets, when in reality, He was a clean-cut, polite kid from a loving family. That single role could have typecast him forever, but Tate played the long game with remarkable discipline. In 1995, he appeared in Dead Presidents as a young Vietnam veteran whose homecoming spirals into tragedy. And then came his most iconic transformation. In 1997, he starred opposite Nia Long in Love Jones as Darius Lovehall, a soulful Chicago poet, in a film that became an instant black cinema classic, beloved for its authentic romance and timeless soundtrack. Through the 2000s, he kept displaying real range. Why Do Fools Fall in Love? A complicated role in the Best Picture winner Crash, and Quincy Jones in Ray opposite Jamie Foxx. In recent years, he found renewed mainstream success on Stars, playing the morally compromised councilman Rashad Tate in the Power universe, and starring in the BMF series. From a terrifying teenage villain, to a silver screen romantic lead, to a nuanced political player, Larenz Tate has built one of the quietest yet most enduring careers in Black Hollywood. His story is a lesson in patience and control. An actor who could have been boxed in forever by one unforgettable early role, but who instead chose each project with care, refused every easy stereotype, and slowly assembled a body of work defined by range, intelligence, and lasting respect. 21 journeys, from a Ford assembly line to global stardom, from sleeping in a car to an Oscar nomination, from a 2-week coma back to a standing ovation. None of these men were handed anything. They were told no, overlooked, written off, and some nearly lost everything before the world finally paid attention. But here's what we want to know. Whose transformation moved you most? Was it Tracy Morgan clawing back from the edge of death? Idris Elba crossing an ocean with nothing in his pockets? Or Michael B. Jordan finally holding that Oscar after 20 years? And who did we miss? Whose story deserves the spotlight next? Tell us below. And subscribe to Secret Celebrity Stories, where every hard-won legacy gets remembered.